Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the customer case study. I would like to introduce you to Somkant Mishra, who works as GRC Solution Architect at Interxion, and will be taking us this afternoon through their GRC journey. In his personal GRC journey, Somkant has worked with numerous organizations, creating solutions which have helped shape the organization's GRC landscape. Throughout his extensive career, Somkant has supported various organizations at different degrees of maturity. Some were just starting with compliance, others were in the middle of a chaotic compliance experience. Throughout all of this, Somkant recognizes that driving organizational GRC maturity can at times be a challenging endeavor, yet this is a challenge Somkant loves. Somkant, welcome.
Thank you.
I will now hand over to you so you can take us through your experiences at Interxion. Thank you very much, Somkant.
Thanks, Victoria. Thanks again, and hello, everyone. At this moment, I would like to take you through the journey which we went through when we have started with GRC. There were multiple things which we were thinking when we were going through, but still, I would like to take you through the major trigger points we were having when we were talking about GRC. So these were the trigger points. As you can easily see from the slide, that mostly it is about the increase of frameworks, auditors raising the bar, then overlap of the controls, then adopting a global approach. Likewise, there are many things which every organization is facing today, and these are the similar challenges for us. And these were the trigger points which took us towards buying a tool or procuring a tool which can help us in doing these GRC activities. Now, how a tool can help us? What will be those things which will change if we buy a tool? So primarily what will change is we get higher effectiveness. Higher effectiveness, how higher effectiveness? Because we will be using a consistent approach, which will be structured and uniform across the organization. What will change? It will change the Excel environment what we have, because not only it's not only Excel environment, it's just multiple Excel for same things in different organizations which we are having. And then everybody is reinventing their own compliance and doing things in different ways. So all these things can be changed if we adopt tool having greater effectiveness. What else can change? What else can we get help from a tool is we have regularly many deficiencies or few deficiencies coming out from the audits. All these deficiencies come and stay there in some reports. We don't have a track of those things, that how far we are, how we are closing them. By using a tool, we can have a clear visibility on all those things, our progress, how we are doing on each of those things. Our decisions can be driven through that. Then one very big point about elimination of overlaps. So if we have a tool, we can easily eliminate many overlaps which we have in different frameworks. If we talk about SOC 2, ISO 27001, 9001, any other control framework, they all have certain level of overlap. And when we do that multiple times, we are simply wasting our effort. Having a lot of redundancy. Now, these were the things which triggered us, and we thought through before we bought the tool. Now, when we went into a procurement phase and we finalized MetricStream, now it's just not buying MetricStream which is going to simply solve all the problems. It's also the implementation of MetricStream, and for that, if you buy that is something which is going to be a key for your success. Because if you are not implementing it properly, it's going to be challenging for you to solve the problems what you want to solve. So we prepare a roadmap for ourselves. What was that roadmap? We kept step-by-step approach, where we saw that, okay, first of all, we input everything in the tool at first phase, which was our fragmented stage. Then once we have everything in our tool, we will try to align them together by reducing the overlaps. That was our integrated approach. Then after we achieve integrated approach, we look forward towards automation and we adopt an aligned approach, and then towards the optimized approach. These are 4 phases which we have designed. It can be different for you because of different maturity of the organization. It can be anything, but we have to find out a step-by-step approach. We cannot solve all the problems just at the first step. So we have this approach which we have adopted in Interxion, for that matter. In other organizations also, I have worked with their maturity level and found out a roadmap for them. And this roadmap is actually extended over a time period. So it's not that I have to do all those 4 steps immediately when I'm doing the tool. Now it's divided over the time, after one after another. So that's how we have started with implementation. What was my approach, basic approach of implementation? So basic approach was that tool is just one thing. We have to look at a whole spectrum. We have to see how our processes are, how much our people are trained in using the tool, how much they understand the process. And we took all those 3 things in unison. We have worked on 3 things at a similar level. When we say tool, we say we should have a tool which is useful for us, which is more closer towards our processes, which is helping us and which is easy to understand, giving better reporting. All these things were our key. And also it serves the purpose of reducing the overlaps, higher effectiveness, visibility, all these things. If we have all these boxes checked, then that's the right tool for us. And that's what I expect from a tool. And then what I did and I always aspired to do is that I also tweak the processes what we have slightly towards the tool, because if we try to change the tool a lot, then we are going in a direction where we will not be more upgrade safe. We will have regular challenges with the adoption what we have done in the tool. So we also have to keep the things as out of the box as possible, because those are more tested, more rigorously tested as a tool, and those will not have many defects as such when we start with the tool. So key is to keep it out of the box. Then important part is people. Whenever you will start with the implementation, from start, during the process, keep the people whom you want engaged and distribute as much as possible. You have to, you don't have to keep any centers of excellence. You have to keep the centers of excellence distributed over the organization. Every country, every entity shall have their own excellence, and they all shall serve the tool holistically, and they should know what they are expected to deliver from the tool. So training of those people, training, continuous training, not once, it can be twice, thrice, whenever, till the time they will not understand what they are expected to do. We have to keep tracking, training, tracking, training, tracking. This is how I did, and I see those things happening in other organizations as well previously, wherever I have worked, that you have to keep training people. This is a GRC tool. It's not any simple social networking site which anybody can simply use it. Now, when we have implemented the tool, obviously everybody was looking out of what we have gained through this. So we have seen some noticeable improvement in less than 1 year of implementation. And those noticeable improvements were basically that we were able to see all of our frameworks at one place. We can see our risk, control, policies, requirements aligned with each other. They were related to each other, and we can see how many risks are related to how many controls are related to how many policies, which requirements are satisfied, which requirements are not satisfied, how we are doing on our business objectives, control objectives, etc. All these things we were able to achieve within 1 year of implementation. We also have seen that our continuous control monitoring was key for our visibility, where we were testing each control which we have got from any control framework, or for that matter, our internal controls as well. And we were seeing the results on those controls. During audits, we have found those things very useful because we already knew what are our problems, and we were already fixing them. So there were no surprises. We were really aware of the situation where we are. And also, we have kept a good track of our things. So our improvement was really focused towards what we want to change. It was not ad hoc. It was really planned because we were having a good visibility of our systems. So this was a big improvement and very good feedback from our management as well around the reports, whatever they have received, and how they are seeing the change coming through GRC in the systems. And when I had implemented the system, I always ensured that we should implement a system which is as general as it is possible. It should not be very specific to a department. It should be quite general. Then before I end, I have just 4 points to say before. If you're going for a tooling requirement, you just have to make sure that tool cannot fix all your problems. You have to keep everyone on page. And when I say everyone, it's about processes, system, people. All those things should go together to solve your problems, to bring a change, bring something different in your organization. Another point is GRC is a journey. You cannot expect something to change overnight. It will take time, and you have to always keep the expectations right. Then another point is distribute the work towards the organization. Don't keep the things centered at a few places. Just distribute the things as far as possible. And the architecture of system also shall support that. And then last point is automate. As far as possible, automate the controls, automate the evidences, whatever you have to achieve the efficiency while control execution. That was it from my side towards this. I will let you ask the questions if you have any, and over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Somkant. Very, very insightful. It's always good to understand how different organizations handle their GRC journey. And indeed, we have some questions, so we can start going through them. Feel free to continue feeding the questions through for anyone in the audience interested in drilling more into the topics that we've covered. I'll start off with the first question. Could you share in more detail some of the benefits you've achieved so far with technology and what you anticipate in the future?
Yeah, sure. So the biggest thing what we have achieved is visibility. Because at earlier time when we were using Excels and other different mediums, we were not having a central visibility of our frameworks, and at one landscape we were not able to see at any point of time how we are faring in our control execution. That was one thing. Second thing was common processes. When we have no such system in place, understanding of processes differ from person to person. They do things in different way, and sometimes you have 11 versions of same thing in one organization. So that one thing again is achieved. Another thing, an informed decision making. That was something which we have achieved after implementing the tool, that we have got the results out of the system where we can see what are our pain points, what are the areas where we have to really improve, in what areas we are facing the problems in audit, if we are facing the problems in documentation, yes, why not, let's get some expertise there and fix the problems. If we see that overall structure is not working, and that's what we get in multiple audits, yes, let's rethink about the structure what we have. Then if we have specific control failures in IT, so let's procure the systems which can solve those specific problems. So the informed decision making is one of the biggest positive what you can see from buying or procuring a tool which you can achieve. Yes, Victoria.
Thank you. We have got some more very good questions coming through. And the next one, the success of a technology solution lies with its implementation and adoption. What advice do you have for your peers who are in the process of implementing and rolling out a solution?
Yes, and I really agree that implementation is the key. How you are implementing a tool, that's going to determine how successful you are. So the biggest point is that keep the expectation clear at the start and take step-by-step approach. When you are taking step-by-step approach, then you are not trying to achieve a lot of things together. You are just going one by one. And when you are taking one by one challenges, your implementation will surely be a success. Now, if I dig deeper, then let's say if you are starting with if you are implementing a tool in an organization which has a very lower maturity. So first thing what you should do is to remove the silos where you have many people working on compliance in many different areas. Just bring them together and ask them to start using a tool to do the compliance, because then tool will give them a uniformity, and also it will help them in standardizing the processes what they have. If you are a bit more mature, if you are on a maturity level where you have already standardized the processes, then I feel the next thing is to distribute work what you have as much as possible. So the design of implementation or the design of tool shall be in such a way that you can engage as many people as possible in the organization while doing the compliance. It's not a job of CISO to manage everything. It's a job of every employee in their work area to manage the respective compliance which they are supposed to manage. They should understand what is expected from them, and that can be done through continuous control monitoring, which we have done in our organization, and I have done previously in many other organizations. And that's pretty much a standard in European organization, that they really want to check the controls very frequently. And solution, yes. So think holistically. Think about what you want to see, where you want to see yourself in next 4 or 5 years in terms of maturity, and then only you can think about a final solution.
Thank you. We have got another question here. It's very interesting as well. How will the GRC tool assist my organization in achieving combined assurance for all the stakeholder groups?
Yes, very important point. Assurance is something which we all want to achieve whenever we are going for a compliance. So for assurance, it's a key that you should have a transparency towards the compliance whenever you are implementing anything, or if you are not implementing, then also the transparency is the key when we talk about assurance. How much ever we are transparent, that is going to determine how fair we are doing in terms of assurance. Then if we talk about our stakeholders, so if let's take an example, if my policies are at one platform which are also aligned with my risks, and I can showcase that all the risks are controlled fairly, then that's what all my stakeholders want to see, that my risks are covered and all my objectives will be met at the end of the year, because I don't have any risk in achieving those objectives. So that's one way of thinking towards that. Second way is if we think about really the audit cycle and auditors, how they will see to it. If we have transparency through the tool, we can easily show them that this is how we are looking at our compliance full framework, full landscape, and we can give them read access to those things, and they can just have a look at those things and get a better confidence before even the start of audit. And when you are in the audit, you already have answered many questions which would have come during the audit as a surprise. So it gives a better assurance when you go with a central repository of your frameworks and the testing and the work, whatever you are doing towards compliance.
Great answer. Another question, actually, can you elaborate on how continuous control monitoring helped Interxion be more proactive with audits?
Yes, and this was really a big thing for us because when before buying the tool, we were not doing continuous control monitoring. When we bought the tool, the idea was that we will implement interaction control framework, and that interaction control framework will be tested on a regular interval by all the stakeholders what we have internally. If I have a control which is to be done by maintenance manager, then every month or every quarter or biannual, based on the control frequency, maintenance manager will receive a control which will have some test steps, and that person will do those controls. And at the central level, compliance manager will know exactly what the maintenance manager is feeling about that particular control. Although this was a tedious process because we have to train each maintenance manager not only on the tool, also on the controls, because they were not too much familiar about the controls. So we traveled a lot, we talked a lot with all the stakeholders what we have, and in that process we created that awareness among people in the organization that everybody just started feeling about that the compliance is not a job of a compliance manager. It is everybody's task to do their control, whatever they have been assigned to. And every month or every quarter or biannual, based on frequency, they are submitting those controls. One person reviews those controls. If they are marking certain things ineffective, we are reaching out to them, we are asking them what are those problems which you are facing, why you are marking these ineffective. Then they tell us that, okay, this is the reason why I'm marking ineffective. If we can solve the problems from a headquarter level, we solve the problem from headquarter level. Otherwise, we reach out to the local management and we ask them to solve the problems locally. So this way, because we had heard everyone who is working on those particular controls one-to-one. We got direct inputs from them. So we were able to really channelize our efforts towards mitigating those things which were anticipated to come during the process. So this has helped us a lot. The challenge was the scale was very big. There were a lot of people to train, and also the affinity towards tool was not that great. So, but we just, as I said before, we have not hesitated in training one time or twice or thrice. And also while training, it's not always required face-to-face. You can use web mediums, which I'm using very frequently to train people. And they all are comfortable. I say within 1 year, I gave almost per person, if you say 2 to 3 trainings for different things or 4 trainings for different things, it was not that much. And I feel they are right now understanding the system quite well. And I don't have too many bad feedbacks from them about that this is not helping. They're all happy. They're all happy the way we have changed our continuous control monitoring.
Excellent. We have got another question. Control failures identified by internal audit and captured on the GRC tool, would that trigger the risk related to the audit process for a risk assessment?
Yes. What we do from the audits, if we get any findings, whatever findings these are, our opportunities for improvement even, when we record all those findings at one place, we associate the risks with them. And when we are assessing the risk, we can already see that what are those things which are already happening on these risks. There are certain points which we are already mitigating when we are assessing the risks. So this helped us a lot in aligning our risks towards the audit, towards what the results of the audit. Now, how it helped in our audit process is, suppose you got a problem while you were doing your continuous control monitoring, you have already raised issues. Now, during the audit process, you got findings similar. You have aligned those things together. So now you have 2 issues which you can align together. And you also see there is a risk associated to it. Now, if there is one risk which has many issues open, we cannot really wait for it. So there will be a concentrated effort toward closing all those issues or minimize the issues number towards that particular risk. And that has helped us in keeping our risk appetite at the level what we want. And apart from that, auditors are really happy to see that visibility of what we are doing at one place.
Thank you. We have got another question. How have the MetricStream applications, IT risk, GRC, or all of the apps supported the changes that have come about through the impact of COVID?
So I would say I will give you one very practical thing during this COVID, that previously our compliance was very much focused on physical audits. When we were visiting the locations, we were visiting, seeing, and then only we were finding the problems. Now, with the help of our IT-GRC monitoring, which is done through continuous compliance, continuous control check, we can see the problems coming from the countryside, which we can already see at one place and fix them. Now, audit is something which we have also used in MetricStream, and we are doing internal audits with questionnaires where we ask extended questions to understand what framework they have, and also whether they have really completed the control things or not. This whole internal audit was completely a physical exercise. One person was visiting every country, and then he was collating all those things in reports, and then he was publishing those reports. Now this whole process got automated. You have questionnaires which are sent to the person, they are answering those questionnaires, and then you can take answers from that questionnaires as a feedback for your audit. You have few things left to answer from the specific question, for which you can have a WebEx or a team session to understand from them, and you can even do web sessions to have a virtual walkthrough of the tool, of the full system, full landscape what they have. Apart from that, the risk assessment part was really, I mean, we have implemented risk assessment, which is quite interactive in nature. So those things were very much visible in the tool. So everybody was able to see the risk posture when we have all the things at one place. So this whole COVID duration was quite for us, or we have not faced many surprises, because we already have seen those things through our continuous control monitoring and risk assessments, whatever we have done, and those all were present at one place. So all COVID efforts, whatever business continuity problems can come, we already knew, and our efforts were focused towards those directions already. So we really never had any specific problem during COVID because we knew all our systems at one place very well.
Thank you very much, Somkant. That was a really insightful session. And I would like to thank you again for all your information, for all the experiences you've shared. And equally, I would like to thank our audience for all the good questions that we've received and for all the good answers that you've provided, Somkant. So thank you.